Happy Friday. Woo woo. I'm opening up my notes as I am always sort of doing as we get started on these Facebook Lives. Welcome if you are joining me live. I'm so excited to be wrapping up this series today. And we're gonna tie a little bow on it because I want to make sure that you guys have exactly what you need to take this series and really run with everything that you have learned in it. Excuse me. Getting over a little cold. A baby cold. It's funny. I took a break while people are coming on here. I'll just chat for a few minutes, but I took a break from cellular cleansing for 2 weeks since I got back from Vegas. And I got my first cold in like the longest time. I never really believed in cleansing or cellular cleansing. I was like, man, I don't need that. And since I started doing it, my immune system just goes through the roof. And then when I don't cleanse, that's when the little bugs kind of get me from, like I travel, I'm fine. I know if I'm cleansing consistently. But anyways, this week I had a little baby cold, but it's going away fast. So my immune system's still good. So welcome. If you guys are coming on live, say hello, let me know you're there. Sometimes it tells me who's popping on and sometimes it doesn't, so I don't always know exactly who's watching. So if you are popping on live, say hi so that I know that you're there, and then I can kind of tailor this to you. If I know you, I can give like specifics related to things that I think that you would benefit from, or kind of give examples that I know you would relate to. So say hello, let me know you're here. So today's topic is all about really, like I said, tying this up, wrapping it up with a little bow and giving you that roadmap for success. So we've talked about a lot of different topics throughout this series, and the main one we started with was finding your purpose, and then overcoming fear, or like I said in the last video, like learning how to move through fear, not necessarily like overcoming it, but like, okay, I'm feeling fear, and how can I work through this? And there was a lot of other things that we covered as well in each of the different videos, and I just want to make sure that you guys were able to really take the work that hey T, welcome. Take what you learned in each video and actually implement it, because I know that it's very easy to pop on a Facebook Live, listen to it while you're making dinner, or maybe while you're driving or whatever, I don't know, and you're like, okay, cool concept, awesome, and then you just move on with your day and you never really take the time to implement the things that you learned during that training session. So I want you to go back. That's the number one action item for today, is to go back and re-watch all of the videos in the series and take notes and engage, leave comments, basically let me know your biggest ahas. The more energy you give to this, the more you're going to receive from it. It's really all about this whole idea of energy flows where attention goes. And as you commit to something, if you give it 110%, if you focus on it, if you start to really recognize, like, these are the areas that I want to shift and these are the areas that I want to put my attention, and you claim it, you say, this is what I am committing to, you're going to get so much better results than if you just popped on a Facebook Live, watched it, and then went on with your day. Does that make sense? If you guys resonate with that, leave me some likes or hearts so that I know that you get that, because that's the whole point of hiring a coach, of signing up for a course or buying a book. It's not to just read the book and then put it on the shelf and then be like, cool, that's done, because you need to practice. Like, the magic is in the practice. The magic is in the implementation, and you need to have a roadmap for that. You need to have a plan in order to prepare for success, right? Number one, go back through, watch the series again, take notes, engage in the comments, ask questions if you have any questions so that I can clarify for you if there's anything that you need help with, understanding completely. And then from there, I want you to write down the action steps as well. So I want you to then be able to see, like, okay, here is the series, here's what we covered, here's how to really tap into my inner badass, and here's the action steps that I need to go through and check off as I start to implement them. So once you have that action item list, the next thing I want you to do is to pull out your calendar. And for me, I use my calendar on my computer, my iCal, which also connects to my phone, and then I get my reminders and everything like that for appointments and things on both my computer and my phone, they sync, so anything I change in either spot goes to the other. You can do the same thing with Google Calendar. Welcome, Alicia. Good to see you, girl. And then that way, this is really important. I want you to, whether you use a written calendar or, if you're old school like that, or you use a online calendar or a computer calendar, whatever you want to call it, or both, whatever. I just need you to have something that you can use to like visually start to create your plan. Because if we don't plan for something, then it's probably not going to happen. Like for me, if I don't put something in my schedule, and I'm pointing to my computer here, if I don't put something in my schedule, it's just not going to happen. So this is one of the ways that when it's a very easy way that sometimes might be, if you might feel kind of resistant to it, but I promise if you start by really making sure that you are planning for success by planning it into your schedule, and I'm going to talk more about this, like the reason why this works, you're going to get results because you're making time for these things. You're like logically going through and planning out where you want to put your focus and attention. Welcome, Allison. Welcome, Mom. Good morning. So I want you to get your calendar out, and then this is where we start looking at the action items for the series so far. So we talked about what are your core desired feelings? How do you want to feel on a daily basis? Decide, yes, including scheduling exercise. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. So for me, here's how I do it. I am not the most analytical person. I will be honest with you. I'm like a creative person that can be analytical. Good morning, Allison. I'm creative and I can be analytical. I kind of like fall in the middle of that spectrum. But this being strategic about my calendar is the one thing that keeps me sane with all the things that are going on in my head and all of the things that I know I want to commit to, and really making sure that I make time for those things that I say are important. So if your core desired feelings, if your focus right now is, and I want you to choose from the 4 different categories that we talked about: health, wealth, spirituality, and relationships. And so I want you to choose like 1 to 2 areas that you really want to commit to putting some focus on, based on tapping into your inner badass and really understanding like what are the areas that I need to up level right now? What am I really focused on? And so choose 1 to 2. If you try to do all 4, you're just going to be spread way too thin. And it's not necessarily that you want to ignore those areas of life, of health, wealth, spirituality, relationships. But, when we're choosing areas that we want to up level, we just want to be very strategic about which ones are the most important according to our core desired feelings and what's most important to us and what's going to give us the biggest bang for our buck right now in our life. I'm going to cover the calendar here in a second, but I want to touch on each of those different 4 categories just a little bit to give you an idea. Maybe if you're saying, well, for me, the 2 areas that really I'm struggling with that I know would have the biggest impact on everything else, like a ripple effect. If I worked on those areas, it would affect the other areas too. That would be my health and that would be my money. Like I want to have a better wealth consciousness. Welcome, Mandy. I want to have more money. Welcome, Don. Or I want to feel more secure with my money or with my health. Like I know that if I put more time and attention into filling my own cup and feeling my best, then that's going to have a ripple effect into my relationships and my career and everything else. So you just choose the top 2 areas you want to focus on. And so for money, for example, these are just some ideas of things that you would then take and implement and put into your calendar, and we'll talk about that in a second. But for money, maybe that means setting up a money date every single week where you go in and you look at where you're spending, you look at your budget, not a budget that you're creating from a mindset of lack, but a budget that you're creating from a mindset of like that structure that we talked about in one of the earlier Facebook Lives, where I said, okay, we need a plan, we need something that we can grab a hold of and say, okay, here are the guidelines that I really want to start with, so that like if this is my budget, if this is my current income, this is where I'm at right now. However, if I increase my income to X, then that would allow me to have money for X, Y, and Z. And so once you have that sort of like starting place, then that's where we can work backwards, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. So setting up a money date, creating a budget. That's one thing that you can do with money. With health and fitness, you want to obviously plan your workouts. Treat your workouts as a VIP appointment, just like you would any other VIP appointment in your life. Same thing with your meal planning, with your meal prep, with your creative time, if that's something that's important to you. If that's not important to you and you hate meal planning and you hate trying to figure out what to eat, then figure out what you need to do in order to to realistically plug in the high quality nutrition and to fuel your body towards your goals. That's why in my coaching, I offer a tool belt, as I call it with my clients, of like, here are the different things that you need. I can show you how to create these creative healthy meals. Oh, you don't like to cook in the kitchen? Oh, okay, well then let's talk about the nutrition plan that I have that offers the different options that will allow you to plug in high quality superfood shakes and other things that will help to fuel your body and again supplement your nutrition so that you get the results. Like, this is where you just have to sit down and get super honest with yourself and decide that this is important and you're going to be realistic about what you need to do to get to your goals. And then so that was health and fitness. Spirituality. If spirituality is an area that you want to put more attention and focus on, then plan time for your meditation. I actually have it set up in my calendar every single day, 30 minutes. And it's a reoccurring event every single day that I get a reminder for that, and I already know, but you know, it just, I'm blocking out that time for it, for meditation and journaling. And that's the time that I go through and do my guided meditation. I'm really loving one from Tony Robbins right now. I have a whole bunch of guided meditations. Sometimes I just meditate without something to listen to. I just meditate on my breath. Whatever it is, you just plan that time for you so that you make sure that you are actually allocating time and attention toward this thing that you're saying is very important to you. And then finally, relationships. If you feel like your relationships are an area that needs some time and attention right now, whether that's with your partner, with your family, with your friends, block out time for that. Whether that's a one, date night without kids per week, whether that's time for dating, whether that's time to just chill out with your friends and laugh and like go out, whatever it is that you need to do, you're going to be blocking that into your calendar. Again, so to wrap that up, choose 1 to 2 areas that you really want to focus on, and then this is where we take this to the next step and start implementing what I was just talking about. Back in the day, I think I was in like 4th grade, it was English class. My English teacher took us through this process that I'm going to share with you that I think is hilarious, that she's like, okay, so here's how we write an amazing paper. The paper is due, March 31st, and that's 3 months from now. And the topic is blank. So you know that you have this deadline at blank time in the future, March 31st. So if that's the case and that's our goal is to have a written paper, then we know that these are the action steps that lead up to writing that paper. So let's work backwards from March 31st to today. So to have that paper written by then, you know that you need to have your final edit done before a certain time. You know that you need to have your rework done, like she's going backwards, like final edit, rework, first draft, outline, or research. She's basically setting it up based on all of these like incremental action steps that you need to accomplish to achieve that bigger goal. And I think that it's so funny that I remember that from 4th grade, but it's so true in every sort of goal that we want to set for ourselves, that if we have this sort of goal date in mind and that's what we're shooting for, then rather than just waking up every day and saying to ourselves, okay, well my goal is to lose 20 pounds by X, and then that's like how you guide yourself, like, yeah, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds in 2 months or something, whatever your goal is, whatever you've decided is your thing. That's not really gonna help you get there. Like, you don't really have that roadmap for success, right? So the roadmap for success is to decide what you want and then use action steps that logically lead to that goal in increments leading up to it. If you have those incremental steps that lead up to that final goal, then obviously it's going to be so much more logical that you're going to achieve that goal. And so here's where we can plug that in. When it comes to setting a budget, when it comes to reaching a milestone with money, when it comes to losing weight, or maybe if you have a certain race that you want to run, whatever it is, you plug in those steps, like run 3 miles, run 4 miles, I don't know, whatever it is leading up to a marathon. I've never run a marathon, I'm never going to, but you know what I'm saying? Like, give me some likes or leave a comment and let me know if you understand that, like, as you start to get clear on those steps that lead to that goal, then logically you're going to be better off set up to achieve that goal, because if you hit each of those points along the way, then it's going to show you that progress that's going to ultimately lead to the achievement. So let's just relate it to health and fitness. So if you want to, say, lose weight or build muscle or whatever your goal is, and again, like, I'm trying to be very general here, so it kind of makes it difficult, but if we were to talk on the phone, I could be more specific with you about exactly how to achieve that specific goal. But whether it's lose weight, gain muscle, reboot your metabolism, whatever it is that you want to do, you need to block out the time that you're allocating towards that goal in your schedule. And so for most people in general, you're going to block out time for your workouts. You're going to block out time for your meals. I actually put into my calendar the time that I'm eating a meal, because if I don't, then I'm probably going to book it with time with clients. I'm going to book it with time with writing. I'm going to book it with time with videos or whatever it is, and then I'm never going to have time to eat, and then I'm going to be scarfing down my food. Same thing with workouts. If you don't plan them into your schedule, they're probably not going to happen. Same with meal prep. I mentioned earlier, you need to prep meals, and I used to just have clients do that on Sundays and Wednesdays, and then I started saying, well, if that doesn't work for you, let's talk about nutrition and how can we plug that in. So I want you to use this time where you're sitting down with your calendar to get really honest with yourself and decide what you are and are not willing to do to achieve that goal, and then be, again, very honest about what you're willing to maybe make adjustments on so that you can make that happen. And whether that means, blocking out, you're saying your health and fitness is important to you, so you're blocking out time for meal planning, or maybe you're blocking out the funds to be able to invest in higher quality meals or more meals. Maybe you're only eating once or twice a day, and that in order to boost your metabolism, you need to eat more throughout the day so that your body feels safe and releases the food that it doesn't need, and your system operates optimally. Then okay, I need to block out this much more food. I need to go to the grocery store. The more we think through and plan for success, the more it's going to happen. And so this is what I do every single week with my calendar. I go through and I decide, what am I going to focus my attention on this week? What are my big goals for my business? What am I looking at 3 months down the road that I need to plan backwards for my health? What am I looking at 3 months down the road that I need to plan backwards for? For Brian and I, we do long distance for our relationship. And so if I know he's coming here next Friday, this week is my let's go time, and I just super focus, get stuff done in my business, film my videos, do interviews, all of the things that I need to do so that when he does come, I can shift gears and do more of the outward facing stuff, like going out with friends and meeting for coffee, connecting, networking, and things like that in person, because that's what makes more sense for my schedule in those sorts of times. Does that make sense? If you guys are relating to this, or if you can understand how this would be helpful, give me some likes so I can see that you're getting this. But ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, to wrap all of this up, is that I really want you to sit down with everything that I've shared in this series, take notes, write down your action steps, and then start plugging it in and creating a plan. And this is where I help people in person, one-on-one. We sit down together and we customize it for you based on what it is that you want to achieve for your dream life. And I call this, my Rock Your Dream Life Plan. It's my Rock Your Dream Body Plan. Usually we start with health, because that's one of the areas that for most people is the biggest obstacle right now. And then we end up working on other areas of life as well, because it's all connected. But as you can see, that this is the groundwork. This is laying that solid foundation. This is understanding that realistically, you want to set up a plan that will become your lifestyle. This is not just about how quickly can I lose 10 pounds, or this is not about how quickly can I make $10,000 or whatever it is. This is about creating a long-term sustainable plan of success. And that's what I want to really help support you in, is understanding if you want a big life, if you want to rock your dream life, this is about really having that big 30,000 foot perspective that most times we don't take the time for. Most times we're just so focused on, what do I need to do today? What do I need to do right now that's thrown in my lap? It's other people's priorities. It's putting out fires. It's not really being very intentional about our life. And the more that we can take that broader, bigger 30,000 foot perspective on our life and really have that clear vision of what we want to create, the better off we are in being able to plug in those things that are the most fulfilling, most satisfying, and ultimately lead to us achieving that goal that we want to achieve in our life, and whatever those goals are. And so that's why I wanted to do this series. That's why I wanted to help support you in this, is to really help you to take that step back and take this time for yourself. And if you've joined me live on these videos, or if you've watched the recording, I really want to honor you, and I really want to celebrate that, because I know that if you're watching, this is important to you. Like, just by watching, you're saying, okay, this is what I want for my life, and I believe that it's possible for me, and I want to tap into my inner badass, and I want to live that higher purpose or higher vision for myself, and I don't want to just be status quo and just trying to get through the day and stressing out all of the time. I want to be connected to something bigger than that. I want to really live that bigger life that I've always wanted to live, and sometimes we talk ourselves out of, and we think, I don't have time to think about that. But I want you to know that you do have time, and that if you need extra help, if you feel like you need support, if this is something that you've been struggling with for a really long time, I can help through things like this video series, through things like my newsletter. I have lots of free resources on my website that can help to get you started and give you that jump start, and really give you the action items that you need to plug in order to get that long-term sustainable success. But if you need further support, and you feel like if you feel like you want someone to be there with you, holding your hand, welcome, Greg, because I was just actually going to quote you. One time, a long time ago, Greg told me that human beings were not meant to just exist on an island. We're not meant to just try to do stuff on our own. And, again, I've mentioned this in other Facebook Lives, like, you're not supposed to be Superwoman or Superman and do it all by yourself. And sometimes one of the greatest gifts that we can give to ourselves and to anyone that we love that's important to our life, or important to us in life, is to ask for help, and to get the support that we need, and to not expect them to be the one who's doing all of that for us, to go outside of our family, or to go outside of what we've been doing, and really discover ways to support ourselves in the ways that we need in order to achieve the results that we want. And so that's where I come in. If you need further help, I do have 2 spots opening up in my private one-on-one coaching, and that's my immersion coaching, where I work with people one-on-one in a private setting, and I really help them to customize this stuff and to plug in the tools that I mentioned from my tool belt that help to make this very sustainable long-term, and also something that becomes a part of who you are. Not just something that you did one day, not just some book that you read, or some course that you did and then you put it up on the metaphorical shelf and you're like, all right, that's done. No, like this is the work that you do right now that is the magic that ultimately makes this stuff the life-changing stuff. This is how you rock your dream life. It's by being committed and focused, and to really being honest with yourself and deciding that this is important and this is something I'm willing to commit to. And so if that's something that you're interested in, if you do feel like, yes, I love everything that I've heard in this series, I resonate with you, Sheila, and I want to work with you in a one-on-one setting, then go to sheilaveers.com/coaching and fill out that application. And as I've said in the past, like, filling out that application alone can be so clarifying, because it truly does help you to take all of this to that next step and decide, like, what is it that I'm willing to commit to? Like, what is important to me right now? And am I ready to do this? Am I ready to put the focus and attention on this and myself, so that then I can ultimately show up as that best version of myself in life? And we all deserve that, right? Like, that's what you want. That's what we all want. That's why we want any goal in our lives, is because we feel like having that accomplishment is going to help us to show up as the person that we truly know that we are inside. So if you're ready and this is something that you really want to commit to, fill out the application. If it makes sense, if it feels like we're a fit, then you and I will hop on a 30-minute dream body, dream life discovery session, where we'll talk about your current goals, your challenges and obstacles, and what's going on for you right now, and then how I can help. So I hope you loved this series. I hope that you got so much out of it. And I also hope that you know that, like I've said before, this is a movement. Like, this is the Rock Your Dream Life movement. This is about so much more than me. And although I'm the one here on this video talking and sort of sharing this message, I can't do it alone. Like, you and I are in this together. If this resonates with you, if you feel like, yes, I do want to rock my dream life, and I believe that everybody is capable of doing that, then I want you to know that, like, the more that you can share this message as well, like, the more that then it becomes the norm. stressing out, being on the go, like trying to always prove ourselves. That's the norm right now. But if we start spreading this message together, then the norm will become people being happy, being focused, being creative, being in their power. And then imagine the ripple effect that will have. Imagine the impact that will have on our world. So in our lives too, not just our world as like this giant globe, but like in our personal lives, in our families. Like imagine if you were that example of someone who was truly rocking their dream life and your family saw that. Like I've shared about how that's affected my family. Like the more that you shine, the more you give other people permission to shine. And I really do believe that quote is so meaningful because everybody knows that it's true. And we just have to give ourselves permission to do that. And so I hope that this series has helped you to give yourself that permission. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope that you got so much out of it. Leave me a comment and let me know some of your biggest ahas from the series. I would love to hear from you. And I will see you around. I do have some more amazing things coming up soon, some more live trainings. So if you're not on my newsletter, make sure that you are signed up at sheilaveers.com/free gift, and you'll also get a free little bonus there as well. My 3 steps to losing weight without restriction, or without dieting. Restriction, dieting, same thing. So take care. Have an amazing Friday. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you all soon. Bye, everyone.